Peace, everybody. What's good? It's our boy, Coach Malachiwilliams, and you are number 2 in the True Media Boxing Radio. Let's go.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
All right, everybody, check this out. We had a good fight party last night. Demetrius Andrade, David Benavidez, hell of a fight. Demetrius Andrade did the best he can do. Shout out to him. Shout out to David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. He is that. He's a Mexican and he's a monster, irregardless of what anybody say. It is what it is. Also, shout out to Super Matthias Urgashev. He did the best he can do. Shout out to Jamal Charlo, Jose Benavidez, Lamont Roach, and Hector Garcia. Anyway, let's get into it. Now, as it relates to Demetrius Andrade fighting last night, David Benavidez was just a little bit too big and too strong for him. You know, Andrade did not have the punching power to keep him off of him. You know, I used to hear a whole lot from Andrade fans. The few fans that he do have spoke about how much of a slick black fighter he is, and once you get David Benavidez in the ring, he gonna cook him. He gonna do this and do that. And shout out to my main man in the ATL, man, Coach Eddie. But this is the reality of the situation. And I said this before the fight started. I was pulling for Andrade. I did want to see him win, but I picked David Benavidez to beat him. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Andrade hasn't fought anybody. And I said it on my show. I say, listen, man, I don't see Andrade have 4 fights. The 4 fights that I've seen throughout his 15-year boxing career, he hasn't fought anybody. And he's fighting people like Jason Quigley's and Liam Williams and stuff like that and yada, 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 yada. You know, when I say yada, 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 basically it means et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what that means. So he's fighting, you know, all these different European tomato cans and this and that, and he's looking good against these guys. Triple G didn't want to fight him, so Triple G did avoid him. Canelo said he's a horrible fighter. Canelo don't want to fight him, so Canelo avoided him because he didn't want to fight the guy. So now he finally gets a shot at 35 years old, to fight his biggest fight of his career. Out of 15 years, this is the biggest fight he's ever had against David Benavidez, and he gets destroyed. I think the corner did the right thing by stopping the fight in the 6th round. At the end of the 6th round, he did not come out in the 7th. Understandably so, he was getting punished. He was getting beat like a piñata. He got beat like, I would say he got beat the way Errol Spence got beat by Crawford. It wasn't that severe, but it was damn near there. And if it would have kept going, he was punishing him. David Benavidez is too big, too strong. He has damn good timing. He throws punches in many different angles. He throws punches off rhythm. So it's not like you can get his timing down pat. He can fight you on. He can throw punches and hit you, off balance and hurt you. And this is the crazy part about it. Sometimes his footwork isn't always there, but he still lands these thumping shots, short punches. David Benavidez is just too big, too strong. And the problem is, Andrade, when you have a year or 15 years of not fighting anybody, this is what happens when you step up in competition. And this is what I tell you guys. We don't know how good any of these fighters are, the ones who you guys be hyping up, because, we won't know until they fight elite level competition. This is how you judge a fighter. You don't judge a fighter based on what he did in the amateurs. You don't judge a fighter based on what he did in the Olympics. You don't judge a fighter based on what he did against Hobo Sam, Poke Chop Willie, Shawty Big Nuts. You judge a fighter who you say that's elite. You judge an elite fighter on how he performs against another elite fighter. That's how you judge a fighter. And Demetrius Andrade has never fought an elite fighter since he's been boxing. So when he finally gets in the ring with an elite fighter, he gets destroyed. But he gets destroyed at a higher weight. He was better off just fighting staying at 160 and fighting those other guys down there. He was better off doing that. He was better off fighting Zach Parker when he had a chance to fight him. He was better off doing that. Demetrius Andrade, I take my hat off to you. You are a warrior. You didn't quit. And I will say that. So I'm not going to diss him. This is the fight game. You win some, you lose some. This is your first loss. I do see that Andrade was very emotional at the end. You know what I mean? In the corner, when they was interviewing him, I do get it. He probably was embarrassed, probably was ashamed. You have nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about. At least you fought the guy. There's a whole bunch of guys that don't want to fight Demetrius Andrade. And don't want to fight David Benavidez. At least you fought the guy. You moved up, went up, and you fought him. You got your ass beat, but you fought him. You get what I'm saying? And you miss out on the Canelo fight. So Canelo's definitely not going to want to fight you now. It is what it is. So that's all it is, man. So Demetrius Andrade, you had a career of not being able to land any elite competition. And when you finally get in the ring and land one, you get destroyed. That's because you haven't fought anybody in 15 years. And it's not your fault. Well, part of it is your fault, and the other part is not your fault. Part of it is the fights that you pulled out of, that's your fault. The other part is the fights that the guys that want to fight you, like the Canelos and the Triple Gs, that's not your fault. Jamal Charlo didn't want to fight you at one time. But I'll say this. I think the fight next for Demetrius Andrade, let's see if Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo fight each other. I think that'll be a good fight. I think both of those guys might be on the same level. You know, Jamal Charlo, you know, he's coming off a 2.5-year hiatus. You know, he didn't look all that great against Jose Benavidez. He did good, you know, but his timing was off. His legs wasn't there. So he's not ready for any elite competition. But Demetrius Andrade, I'm gonna say this, fam, stay away from them young guns. You're too old now. You know, Benavidez is too big, too strong. David Morrell will probably do the same thing to you. Styles do make fights. Benavidez, as the fight goes on, he's going to get stronger. I don't know where Demetrius Andrade will go from here. This is to you Demetrius Andrade fans. You know, he's a good fighter, but he's not what you guys said he is. He's not what you say he is. And I've been saying this. You know, I like Demetrius Andrade, but he's not what you say he is, because he hasn't been fighting anybody. That's one. And two, he hasn't been active. So when you hardly fighting, all of these years he's been hardly fighting, and then he's fighting subpar competition. And you guys say that he's this, he's that. He just wasn't. He's not that. He's not that guy. He's a good fighter, slick black fighter, but, you know, he's a slick black fighter who fights good against subpar competition. But when he fought David Benavidez, too big, too strong for him. And Benavidez is going to be too big, too strong for probably everybody at 168. You know, maybe a David Morrell can probably give him problems. Maybe a Canelo, I don't know. Hopefully we get that fight next. Canelo has to fight this guy, period. But what do you guys think about Demetrius Andrade? He got punished last night. Face looked like Errol Spence. You know what I mean? When he was getting punched in the face. You know, he got punished last night. You know, the slick black fighter, it was nothing he can do. The slick black fighter could not overcome the flat-footed Mexican monster. That's the reality of the situation. You know, Demetrius Andrade, you're 35 years old. Maybe you can learn to stay a little bit more active. By you being over there with the PBC, I doubt you be active, because those guys are not active over there. This is what happens. So, you know, hopefully you can get some more fights. Talk to Al. Maybe you can get in there with Caleb Plant. Maybe you can fight Jamal Charlo, whatever. But your big money fight days are over. That was it. You don't have to worry about that anymore. But you made enough money. Unfortunately, you didn't get the victory. But hey, man, and to Demetrius Andrade fans, the few fans that he do have out there, y'all hold your hands up, hold your head up, wipe the tears from your eyes. It's okay. He's a good fighter, but he's not what you guys say he is. Hate, like, share, and subscribe. What do you guys think? Leave your comments below. You know my motto, don't meet me there, beat me there. Peace.
Man, I'm out of here, bro. Let's go.